You were taught to take control, be productive, make plans, crush goals. That's how you win at life, right? But here's the truth no one wants to admit. The more you try to control life, the more life controls you. Your mind is exhausted, always calculating, protecting, anticipating. You don't relax, you brace. Even rest feels like guilt. Why? Because somewhere along the way, you absorbed a dangerous belief that peace must be earned after everything is under control. Spoiler alert, it never is. If you like this type of content, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Alan Watts dismantled this illusion with unsettling clarity. He said life is not a puzzle to be solved. It's a song to be danced, a play to be performed. And control? Control is the one thing the actor on stage never has. That's the director's job. But you forgot you're not the director. You got so deep into the role that now you think the chaos around you is your fault. You forgot it's part of the story. So you fight against what you feel, against the uncertainty, against life itself. No wonder you're tired. Here's the twist. Life was never asking you to dominate it. It was asking you to participate in it. Fully. Honestly. Even when it's messy. Especially when it's messy. Control isn't power. Presence is. Because when you stop resisting what's happening, something shifts. The fear is still there. The chaos too. But they no longer define you. You begin to move through life, not as a soldier in battle, but as a dancer in flow. And here's the quiet miracle. When you stop clenching your fists, life starts to open its hands. Now ask yourself, how much of your suffering is really just resistance to what already is? Let's get this straight. The voice in your head that narrates your life, that criticizes you, compares you, doubts you, it's not you. It's the role you're playing, a character you've rehearsed for years. And the biggest plot twist, you've mistaken the actor for the author. Alan Watts said, trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. Because the moment you say, I am this, you've already limited something that's infinite. The ego is just the mask. But you got so attached to it, the name, the title, the backstory, that now you panic when that mask is threatened. You were never taught to just be. You were taught to perform, be likable, be strong, be right. So you became a version of yourself that the world could accept. But deep down, something felt fake. And now you're exhausted from holding up the costume. Here's the truth. The ego isn't evil. It's just incomplete. It's like a role in a movie. Useful for interaction, for learning, for experiencing contrast. But it's not the whole story. The real you is the awareness behind the role. The presence that watches the character struggle and says, so this is what it feels like to be human. And here's the magic. The moment you stop trying to protect the ego, you begin to access something deeper, a kind of freedom that doesn't depend on image or validation. You stop needing to prove anything. You start being everything. You don't need to kill your ego. You just need to remember that you are not it. You are the one observing the mask, not the mask itself. So, who are you when you stop pretending? Fear isn't failure. Fear is a flare, a signal that you're standing at the edge of something real. Not real danger necessarily, but real growth. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding this feeling. As soon as fear arises, they retreat, distract, number, rationalize, and they think they're being smart. But Alan Watts saw it differently. He called it metaphysical courage, not the kind of courage that charges into battle, but the kind that looks fear in the eyes and doesn't flinch. Because here's the paradox. Fear only has power when you resist it. When you run, it chases. When you hide, it grows. But when you sit with it, when you say, I see you, let's talk, the monster turns into a mirror, and in that mirror, you see the part of yourself that's trying to evolve. Fear is the ego trembling at the thought of being irrelevant. It's the nervous system reacting to uncertainty. It's a teacher in disguise. But if you're too busy labeling it as bad, you never hear the lesson. You were taught to suppress fear, be brave, stay strong. But real strength isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to feel it fully without letting it define you. And once you stop resisting it, something wild happens. Fear transforms into energy. into clarity, into life itself. Watts reminded us that suffering intensifies when we try to escape the script, but when we accept fear as just another scene, not the whole story, we reclaim our role as the conscious player. You're not weak for feeling fear. You're human. And if you feel fear right now, good. It means you're not numb anymore. It means you're waking up. So, what if you stopped fighting the fear and started listening to it instead? You don't wake up anxious. You wake up and then remember your to-do list, the bills, the conversations, the expectations, then the loop starts. What if I fail? What if it's not enough? What if something goes wrong? And just like that, your body tenses, your breath shortens, and you're gone, pulled out of the present and dragged into 1,000 possible futures that don't exist. Alan Watts saw this with eerie precision. He said anxiety is like trying to hold on to water. The tighter your grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. And yet that's how most people live, squeezing life, trying to lock down certainty, and calling it responsibility. But the truth? That tension, the worry, the endless mental rehearsal, is not control. It's amnesia. You forgot that this is a game, a performance. You forgot that the plot has twists, and none of them are personal. And when you forget that, you panic. Because suddenly, every inconvenience feels like a threat. Every delay feels like failure. Every unknown becomes a monster in the dark. But here's the shift. Anxiety isn't the enemy. It's the echo of a mind that's trying to control what can't be controlled. Watts didn't say, don't plan. He said, stop thinking that the plan is life. You don't need to abandon your goals. You just need to stop treating them like survival mechanisms. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are just living like this is a test, not a play. So what if, just for today, you stopped bracing? What if you breathed and remembered that you're on stage, not to survive, but to experience? And if the anxiety returns, good. Let it remind you. You forgot again. Now, remember, if life is a game, presence is the cheat code. Not presence as in just be calm and mindful. Presence as in wake up to the fact that you're dreaming with your eyes open. Most people don't live, they rehearse. Every moment becomes preparation for the next one. They eat while planning the meeting. They walk while replaying the argument. They talk while checking their phone. They're everywhere but here. Alan Watts called it the great distraction, the compulsion to constantly escape the now, because the now is raw. It's unpredictable. It's unfiltered. And when you stop trying to escape it, you finally see it for what it is, the only real thing that exists. Presence isn't about being zen or spiritually advanced. It's about remembering that this breath, this heartbeat, this exact second is all there ever is. The rest is noise, thought, imagination. And here's the wild part. When you drop into presence, life softens. The storm doesn't go away, but your need to control it dissolves. The fear doesn't vanish, but it loses its grip. Why? Because you're no longer resisting the scene. You're inhabiting it, fully. Imagine this. You're watching a movie. It's intense, emotional, dark, but you know it's a movie. So you feel, but you don't panic. You cry, but you don't collapse. You experience, but you don't mistake it for your identity. That's what presence does. It creates space between what happens and who you are. You stop reacting. You start responding. And the game changes, not because you figured out the rules, but because you remembered that you're not here to win. You're here to play. So next time fear shows up or anxiety spikes, try this. Don't analyze it. Don't run from it. Just pause, feel, observe. That's presence. That's power. You've spent your life trying to get somewhere. More success, more control, more answers. But what if the point of this whole game was to come back? Not to your childhood, not to your past, but to yourself. To that quiet, unshaken presence behind all the noise. The one that's always been watching. Alan Watts said that the universe plays hide and seek with itself, that it forgets what it is, just to rediscover the wonder of waking up. And you're part of that game, a fragment of eternity pretending to be just someone with problems. You didn't come here to win. You came here to feel, to experience contrast, to taste the chaos, the love, the grief, the laughter, not as punishments or prizes, but as colors in the palette of consciousness. When you stop resisting, when you stop trying to rewrite the script, something sacred happens. You return, not to perfection, but to wholeness. You're still going to feel fear. You'll still lose people, face heartbreak, question everything. The river doesn't stop flowing. The play doesn't pause. But you become different. You stop being a puppet yanked by anxiety and start dancing with the scene, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. This is what Watts called metaphysical courage, not the bravery to fight life, but the surrender to feel it, fully, honestly, consciously. So here's the final invitation. Don't strive to win at life. Strive to wake up in it, to remember who's behind the mask, to play your role, with awareness, with grace, and with the joy of knowing. You're not lost, you're just returning. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.